Welcome to Untamed Blossoms, the podcast where we celebrate the wild and beautiful journey of womanhood. We're here to create a space where women can connect, inspire, and uplift each other. Untamed Blossoms is more than just a podcast. It's a movement. It's a gathering of strong, fierce women who are breaking free from society's expectations.
Our mission is to deep dive into the stories of incredible women who have embraced their authenticity, even in the face of adversity. We believe by sharing these stories, we can inspire others to do the same. Join us as we sit down with women from all walks of life who have faced their own struggles and emerged as the most authentic versions of themselves. From entrepreneurs to artists, activists to adventurers, we'll explore their triumphs and tribulations. Together, we'll navigate the challenges of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and self-love.
But Untamed Blossoms is more than just conversations. We're a community that gathers for events, immerses ourselves in the beauty of nature, and supports one another in our personal and professional growth. So whether you're seeking inspiration, looking for a supportive sisterhood, or simply want to hear incredible stories of women blazing their own trails, Untamed Blossoms is here for you. Together, let's embrace our wildness, bloom unapologetically, and rewrite the rules. Welcome to Untamed Blossoms.
Welcome to Untamed Blossoms. We're grateful you're here. I'm your host, Amanda Riley.
And I'm Cristi Riley. Welcome to the pod.
I am so excited for today's guest.
I know, you met her randomly at an event.
Very randomly.
Yes.
So I went to...
Well, wait, I wouldn't say too random. You tend to you're the socialite of the party. You go and you find the people and you talk to the people, and especially when they're doing things that really aligns with things that you love.
What's really crazy is I didn't immediately think of this. So Noah and I went to Gallery Hop. I have a dear friend whose boyfriend is an amazing artist. He sold out all of his art at the show, by the way.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Incredible. Legit, studio opening. It was incredible. So I went to go see his art support, and walking around, I see this little pop-up beverage tent called Better Bev Shop. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, that looks like NA stuff.
Right.
Non-alcoholic. This is awesome. Because there's a million places to get drinks, right? And
Gallery Hop is an open, you can carry drinks around. It's like a Dora's place, so you can get drinks and you can, it's quite grab the wine and
yes,
go from gallery to gallery. Yeah,
totally. And there's just always and there's a million bars down there and restaurants, right? So right. I was just so excited to see NA options. So I walk over and there's this amazing human working in there, and talked to her a little bit about what she had, whatever. I grab a drink. Okay. What you probably know about me is I also love a good Instagram moment.
Yes.
I love an Instagram moment. So I find the Instagram account of this place, follow it, take a selfie with my Better Than Bevy,
right,
which I will put in the show notes what it was, because I can't remember the flavor or what one I ended up picking. I think it was a CBD one, if I'm guessing myself right. And I Instagram it, put up my story, she reshares it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I wonder if she, this is her gig, right? This is her thing. So I go to her website, I realize it is. So I message her on Instagram in the wild.
Right.
I said, oh my gosh, we have just on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So really, really excited. She, her name is Mary.
Yes.
And she is also sober. So I'm very excited to hear her journey with her relationship with alcohol, how she's gotten to where she is today.
And I think this is beautiful for those people who still want to go do all of the social things. You are a perfect example of that. Still young and vibrant and wants to be social, but it's such a prevalent environment of alcohol that it's hard to feel like you're going to have the same time, or that you're not partaking, it'll be perceived as being weird. And that she's offering this to show up for the people who really love or are either sober curious, sober, just don't drink by choice, not because they don't need to, but just because.
Yeah.
She has this little pop up business that has all of the non alcoholic drinks available. So she can be hired out for weddings and all kinds of things. And so she'll tell her own story, but she's here in Columbus, Ohio as well. But what an amazing opportunity for those people who really would like something like that being offered at their events.
And I would really say too, the place I find options the least are at events, because I don't know. I don't run this scale of events, but I'm assuming if you're hosting Gallery Hop in downtown Columbus, Ohio, you are anticipating alcohol being an easy big seller, right? And when you're thinking about having large like sporting events or concerts, there just isn't, everyone is so conditioned to grab a beer or a mixed drink that it doesn't, I never really find much there. Yeah. Now, I've been to a few things, like I went to a Noah Kahn concert. He actually has this song called Orange Juice, and it's about having options for someone who is sober and having something. And at his concert, he had an orange juice mocktail.
Oh, nice.
So, there's been a few instances, but for the most part, festivals, big events have the least options. CBD drinks are starting to come up on the rise, so we're seeing those here and there. But it was just so great to have that option at a place that I just anticipated not having an option and didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, pleasantly surprised.
Totally.
And then the fact to find out that this is her business and she's an entrepreneur trying to get this off the ground. I think it's pretty new.
Yeah.
Right. 2020. Was it just this year?
Yeah, just this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're excited to help promote her and to help possibly get her some more gigs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait to talk to her.
All right. Welcome, Mary, to the pod. How are you?
Mary. I'm well. How are you too?
Good. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
We love it when we find women doing great things out in the wild that we get to bring on and tell their story. So.
Oh, same. I think what you're doing is just awesome.
Thanks.
It's so funny. I did share in our intro that I just happened to stumble across your Better Bev Shop at a Gallery Hop here in Columbus, Ohio. I was so excited. I'm almost 2 years sober in November.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there's something here that I can enjoy something special and not be a water or a Diet Coke. So I was just so excited to see it and read about your story and was like, oh my gosh, we have to have her on the pod. So,
oh, thank you. Yes, you're my people. Now, did I know that you were 2 years sober when you came by?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Okay, I usually give out stickers when somebody's somebody tells me that, or they're celebrating a sober anniversary. Yeah.
Oh,
I owe you a sticker.
I love the celebration part of that. That's fantastic. Everybody wants that.
Totally.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, we would love to hear kind of your story, your journey when it comes to alcohol, and how I know that based upon my research I've done that you kind of decided after going through a program that that wasn't serving you. So we would love to hear about your story.
Well, yeah, it's a totally unexpected story. I'll tell you that much. I call myself now a retired artist. I was a working artist for 20 years. I had my MFA, showing my work, getting out there, and 2+ years ago, I started to attend Al-Anon meetings, which, for anybody that doesn't know, Al-Anon is like AA's sister. Okay. Or brother, whatever. And it's for those affected by someone else's drinking. And I had no idea what to expect when I started going to these meetings. I just knew I needed help. And I had no idea that it was also a 12-step program. They're the exact same 12 steps as, AA members. And it was really what I was looking for my whole life, in and out of therapy for, 10 years. And no one ever could really give me the tools I was looking for. And lo and behold, Al-Anon was exactly what I needed. And I went thinking I needed to figure out how to handle someone else's drinking. But it turned out that it was all about me, and realizing that I too had a problem. And so 2 years ago, that was like coming out of the pandemic, right? And a lot of us, drank our way through those years. But even before that, I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit I had my first drink when I was 15 years old, and
Yeah.
it was Southern Comfort. What the heck?
Wow.
And I did it to impress a guy that I wanted to date.
Yeah.
At 15 years old, and I have a daughter now that's 10, and I'm just like, what? You're a baby when you're 15. And so yeah, I went through the steps, and it was very healing, and I slowly started to drink less and less that first year. And then, into like the second year, I had like one glass of wine a month. That seemed to be the average. And then I started to notice it was affecting my medication that I was on. It was negating the effects of my antidepressants. And so, like, if I had one glass of wine, it was as if I missed a day of my medication, and that's just bad.
Yeah.
That's just bad. And I thought, what's the point? What am I doing with this one glass of wine a month? Like, just to feel social at a dinner or something. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so I started to look for alternatives. And I would go to I think a Fresh Time Market had some adaptogenic beverages. And like the first one I had was a Recess, which is a magnesium rich beverage. And I was just like, wow, this is good, and it's not soda. I'm not going to like crash from the sugar. It was really nice. And so I started looking around, and then I tried Wonder, which is a local
I
CBD.
love Wonder.
Oh,
my
it's
favorite.
great.
Yes.
It's great. And I started to try different gummies also. And so now I was just like on this path of relaxation, not catching a feeling necessarily.
Right.
But then one day I went out and I wanted a variety, maybe for the week. And I just I was like wandering around stores. Nothing was centralized. Nothing made any sense in the stores. And if I wanted try a non-alcoholic wine, you got to go all the way in the back of the store, and it's down low, and they might have two, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. And then I started to realize that there are other NA bottle shops around the country, and
Yeah.
Columbus had zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my poor husband is used to me having on the fly ideas. But I literally woke up last December of 23. Like it was like early that first week in December, and I said, I'm going to start a business. And he gave me that look. I'm like, I have an idea, and I explained it, and he's like, well, get a business plan together and let's chat. I said, okay. So then
That's the hardest part about sobriety. I think people think that it's the choosing not to drink every time. And while that is hard, I'm not saying it's not, it's when you're healed from that, then you have the rest of your life that you're looking to and saying, like, I want to participate in these things. Like, I want to celebrate someone's, wedding anniversary. I want to celebrate New Year's Eve. I want to do these things. And I want to feel special and have something special in my hand to drink. But it's so difficult to source that and to find it. And then, like you said, you're going into a shop and there might be one thing of wine and it's just you tasting like, oh, I hate this. And then you just stop. Like it's really defeating sometimes.
Right. And I mean, your choices are so limited at most spots, especially at restaurants and bars. I'm still getting soda water and lime at most places.
If you do have a mocktail, it's just they've replaced the alcohol with sugar. It's just really sweet, sugary.
Yeah. We were on vacation this summer, and I was like, oh, they have like a non-alcoholic, like I think it was a daiquiri. And it was
Oh,
just the syrup and ice. It was so gross.
Yes.
so
It
Yeah.
was,
Yuck. Yeah.
it
Just
was so,
taking the alcohol of it doesn't make it a mocktail.
no,
Yeah.
no.
There's non-alcoholic spirits that you use to make a mocktail. Yeah.
Absolutely. It can be
Yeah.
special. And that's why I carry what I carry, because it's like you want to feel like an adult and you
Mhm.
want it to be special,
Yeah.
And especially if like you're a foodie, you appreciate quality ingredients and
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
So how did your December rolling into the new year of 2024 turn into trying to get a business plan together, turn into what you're doing today? And the second part of that question would be, what do you hope that it transitions to eventually, if anything?
Yeah. So once I decided I was going to do this in December, I just went crazy doing research. And in one of my former lives, I was a trend researcher and trend forecaster for for a design firm here. And so I knew what to do.
Nice.
And all of a sudden, all these all these jobs I've had kind of came together, and I could really get going. And all signs were saying go.
That's
It was
awesome.
just like,
Green light.
and that was another thing I learned in Al-Anon, was really paying attention to what is saying yes and what is saying no in your life, or what is working, what is not working. And a friend of mine that owns a greenhouse and bar um, said, "Oh gosh, if you're serious about this, you should look into ECDI. It's a wonderful nonprofit, um, that funds small businesses, especially minority and female-owned businesses."
Mhm.
And they were fantastic. It's such an amazing resource. I was really blown away. They have, a place for food trucks, because originally I thought I was going to do I wanted to do a brick and mortar.
Mm.
Everybody that I threw my business plan to said, maybe you should think about testing out different markets.
Mm.
I'm like, and that was really sad because I had a vision,
Yeah.
and it's hard for me to loosen up on my visions. But then I'm like, okay, maybe a trailer. Maybe I could do a custom trailer. And ECDI has a place for trailers and a place to develop product and everything. And I thought this would be great. But then I realized how expensive that was going to be. And the logistics of storing the trailer was going to be another cost. I've never driven anything with anything attached to my
Never
car,
something. Yeah. Yeah.
you know. Uh, and so kept scaling back into a pop-up. And that seemed very budget friendly. It didn't scare, whereas like I might have had to get like an 80 or $100,000 loan to do a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And I got a very easy $20,000 loan to start my pop-up, get inventory, get equipment. I run it out of my basement. And I know that ECDI is a great resource for anything, any questions I need answered, or yeah, so.
That's awesome. We'll definitely link their
Yeah.
website and resources on
Mhm.
today's show notes, because I think, and we talk about this a lot, the thing that makes us sad, or the thing that we want to help women understand, is sometimes things seem super hard. And instead of giving up on that dream, or giving up when you hit a roadblock, you just have to say, like, what can I do that makes this easier? Or how can I pivot and get support and make this doable? It doesn't have to be big. We went through the same exact process. We
Mm.
wanted to have an event space for women to come and do events and all these things. We were looking at very expensive properties.
Very expensive properties to purchase. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Realize what we really care about is sharing women's stories, and we can do that like this.
Yeah.
You know?
And you never know where you could, follow a similar path and grow and grow and grow.
It needed to be easy, right? It needed to be easier and not so scary and not financially like threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those things are real,
Yeah. And I always, despite my, variety of jobs that I've had as an adult, I've always wanted to own my own business. But I never thought I could because, or I never, that sounds funny. I never allowed myself to look into it because I had the guilt of student loans.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, I can't take out another loan,
Yep.
you know, because of these damn student loans. And in this process, I realized those student loans aren't going anywhere. Maybe they will with this next pass. Who knows?
Yes.
But they're not going anywhere. I know what I pay a month. And this is a different animal because I cannot, there's like no, like, I'm not going to let myself fail.
Right.
You know?
How much did being sober change this for you? Because I feel like I understand that giving up alcohol opened so much more for me and gave me so much more confidence to take a leap. Did you feel like with the clarity of sobriety came more confidence, or do you feel like it was kind of just a build up to that point?
I do think it was a build up, but where I think my sobriety aligns the most with what I'm doing is being able to relate to my customers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's really important. You know, have I ever been in rehab? No. I've hit an emotional rock bottom, but there's just such a varying degree of alcohol dependency, and being able to relate to some of it, I think, is a key factor in my business for sure. Because I love talking to people. I love hearing their stories.
As you've gotten started, have you realized that it was great that you're in a pop-up situation because you've learned a lot about your demographic and changed what you were doing, and that would have possibly been a failure had you gotten into a brick and mortar and into that financial state?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm so glad I took everyone's advice, and I wasn't stubborn like I can be, because, yeah, I've learned so much about different pockets of Columbus. I mean, if I had to, I think I know where I would get a brick and mortar now, but I'm still not ready to commit, I don't think.
Yeah.
Only being 4 months into this, 5 months, 5 months. Yeah, so
What's your ideal client now? Who are you looking for? Who can we target this to? Like, are you looking to be involved in large events that folks that are wanting to make sure that people that are wanting a non-alcoholic option are supplied? Weddings, big events. What is your ideal?
Right now, so I have the customers that pop up. They're awesome. I am starting to approach bars, restaurants, and cafes similar, knowing that there are few to none options out there. And I want them to know that they don't have to be scared, because unlike maybe going through a distributor, you have to buy a large quantity usually. You can buy 6 for me. I don't care if you want to test them with your customers. I don't care. Let's get this going. And being a one lady team, it's a little difficult to get out there and chat. One lady team with 2 kids, right up in there. It's hard. It's hard to get out there and do the groundwork, but so far slow and steady has been good for me. So I'd say bars, restaurants, cafes. I have talked to a few customers that have asked me if I do sober weddings, and absolutely. But that would be another level of research and planning, I think.
I would think there are plenty of corporate events too that would like to offer something to their sober, employees if they're having big events, that you could do a pop-up with them as well and have a lovely option for anybody who's choosing not to drink for a variety of reasons.
Actually, just put a shout out on LinkedIn like, hey, let's rethink team happy hours. What does happy actually mean? And, I know when I was working, I think there would be like a thirsty Thursday or maybe like a fun Friday, and someone would wheel a cart around the office with beer, whatever. I mean, you'd be done working. I mean, the productivity would just go tank.
Right.
Like there's nothing there, and you have workers not acting like themselves, and then with team happy hours outside of office hours, things can get weird.
Totally.
Things can get weird. And then you got to go back to work the next day.
Most of them
And
do. Yeah.
yeah. And you're asking employees to give up time with their families.
Yep.
Right.
And so they're basically saying, give up time with your families to come do this team building exercise that potentially could get you drunk. And then we're going to send you back home drunk.
Yep.
And driving. And
Driving.
possibly doing crazy things with people that you work with that could get you fired.
Exactly.
And, you know,
saying things that can ruin your career.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a huge problem, I think, in general, and the way alcohol is ingrained in every single thing. And if you sit back and think of it, you think, this is so crazy that we celebrate these things. I think about how many baby showers I've been to. By the way, I've been the one that's thrown these, so I'm throwing this right at myself. Like making sure that there's a mimosa bar at a baby shower, like making sure like at everything there's like something special but tied to alcohol. And that's just such a sad realization that you have to force this connection where alcohol is a depressant. It does the opposite.
Oh yeah, it lifts and crashes, and that was something that I did not realize until I really started to dig into sobriety, is the real effects, which is probably a whole different podcast, the real bodily, all of it, chemistry, the way alcohol affects everything is crazy. And I'm not going to kid myself and think that like I can change the alcohol industry. No, alcohol is not going anywhere. Some people may disagree with me, but I don't think alcohol is going anywhere. Cheers to my friends that own bars and that do fun things. I am here for the people that want a different path.
Totally.
Right. Or people that are taking a break. Like, I'm not going to shame anyone that drinks. Right. I know it's not for me. And if you're curious and trying different things, I'm here for you,
Totally. Yeah. I read this book. So I didn't go through a program. I was very excited to see that you did, because I would love to, I love to hear about that perspective. Just myself and my two friends who got sober around the same time, we just kind of just tried figuring it out. And it was pretty hard at times. But I read this book called The Naked Mind. And it's a lot of what you're saying, like reading the science behind what it does to your body. Mm-hmm. For me, that's what did the trick. Like, I consider myself to be a fun, like party girl, like love to go out and do fun things. I didn't do anything, detrimental to my friendships for the most part, or had like big meltdowns or horrible things. But what I realized after reading that book was, what am I doing to my body? This is so crazy that I'm choosing to poison myself to the point that I can't remember what's happening. My brain's not making new memories. That's so scary.
Yeah.
And we talk about this a lot. We never, to your point, want to shame anyone for the choices they're making. But if you want to make a better choice or do something different, it's just nice to know that there's a supportive community waiting for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm big into fitness. And once I realized that it's totally backwards to be drinking while working out. I remember training for my first half marathon a long time ago, and celebrating with beers during my training. It's like, what am I doing? Oh, I'm carb loading. No,
yeah,
no. Oh, so silly and young.
Do you think though, like, as we're not shaming anybody, I would be interested to see what your background, you said, were in trends and patterns, what you found in your research, because I do feel like there's a lot more in this millennial and younger generation that's coming up that are choosing against alcohol. I would love to hear what you found when you looked at the trends and patterns.
Well, Gen Z specifically, and I not only read it, when I was looking into everything, but then I experienced it firsthand with customers. They're so excited to see me. And it just proved what I read, and that not only are they, health conscious and more involved in environmental issues, it all ties together. It really does for them. They're not ignorant to anything. And I have to think, like, man, if someone told me when I was like 18 that alcohol is in fact a poison, maybe I would have looked at it differently too.
Yeah.
Or like, and it goes in line with, being aware of, tobacco use, sugar consumption. It's all related. And now I'm also finding with this 60, maybe 55 plus age group, they're getting hip to it too. And
Yeah.
they might want to reverse some damage now as they really are starting to feel age. I think they're in reverse mode for sure. And I actually read recently that I wasn't alone in that finding. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I stopped because of menopause.
Oh,
Menopause was really alcohol was making it so much worse. And so, why would I poison my body if I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to ease through this change of my life and process? And every time and I didn't drink very much, but every time I had one, I was like, wow,
did you just feel the effects more, or was it affecting symptoms?
Oh, affecting my symptoms. Yeah, I would have
Mm,
way more hot flashes when I wouldn't have very many. I would have way more brain fog. I mean, it just made it 10 times worse.
yeah.
In even those little periods of time that I was having that I was the same as you, the once a month thing. I'm like, what am I doing? And it was always in a social situation when you're out to dinner with friends and they
Mhm.
had a drink, so you had a drink, and
Mhm.
and sometimes you are stressed and you want that de-stressor, right? I love that you talked about relaxation because that's what I was doing it for. Those moments where you're like, I just want a drink of wine because it calms my nerves, right? When
Mhm.
really, when you know what happens in your body, there's so many other things that you can reach for that's not alcohol that's going to make you feel really good in your body and not make you feel terrible and not make you have worse whatever symptoms and not
Right.
harm your brain and all the things. So it's great that, and I think Gen Z, you're totally right about that. I will say me trying to villainize the interweb and social media, but it truly is like they are really knowledgeable of all the things. And I can
Mhm.
remember the commercials about smoking being good for you to lose weight. And I can
Oh
remember
God.
like when I was little, like that was real. Like we were being told that these things, and like not very long ago, that one glass of red wine for you a day
Heart
was
healthy.
heart healthy, right? Like
Oh yeah, that's still a huge debate.
it's
Yeah.
just like, what are we doing? To what other, it might be okay for your heart, but what's it doing to the rest of your
Yeah.
body, right? Like, so it's just an interesting, what we've been told and led to believe, and that knowledge is power, and you get to make a choice when you have more knowledge, right? So that their
Oh
generation
yeah.
really does have it at their fingertips. Literally, they carry it around with them constantly. So
Oh, yeah. And as you were talking, I was thinking about, the idea of relaxation and how we are so overstimulated
yes.
for obvious reasons. And so we want immediate gratification, you know, and alcohol can provide that immediate gratification, or at least we've, normalized it to be such. And in my journey with quitting alcohol, I realized that exactly what I was doing. It was a crutch. It was a real crutch. And I think that's one of the biggest, practices, the routine you have to get into is pausing. The
Yes.
pause is the most important thing for me, and probably others out there, that has helped me give up alcohol. Actually, pausing. And I didn't realize that I had that option. And actually, Al Anon taught me that I have options.
Yeah.
And that idea of having options also drove me to this idea of my business. My big why is that humans deserve better options.
Yeah.
And it's not just with drinks, but that's what I'm providing. The option to pause, the option to go for a walk. I mean, I used to be just so rigid. Like if something was in my way, I wouldn't move it. I would just figure out a way to work with it. It's like, no, I can move that. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Totally.
just real, and you have options, you have choices in your decisions. It doesn't have to be, you know, one way or another at all.
Yeah. It's really easy to look around and say like I don't have options. I have to do like of course I know I shouldn't be drinking, but if I go to this bachelorette party, I don't have an option. What am I going to do? Just not drink? And it's like, well, actually, turns out you can. You absolutely can, but it's having those tools and resources available to you to make it more comfortable, because that's what I've realized within my sobriety is I was drinking to help avoid discomfort,
Mhm.
and life is uncomfortable
Sure.
and situations are uncomfortable, and you can't numb your way out of that. There will always be another situation, which is why alcoholism exists, right? There will always be something more uncomfortable coming down the way, and dealing with that head on and being clear-minded actually helps you move through that much, much faster than delaying it with alcohol.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
I had a delicious cloud water with you.
Mhm.
I had the watermelon ginger flavor, which I loved. So can you talk to us about the types of beverages that you carry? And like, what makes you pick those things? And just, you had so much of a variety at that one, event. I just am curious about what all you carry.
Sure. The cloud water that you got, it's a 25 milligram CBD beverage, and it's one of my best sellers.
Mm.
I think the flavors are fantastic. Um, and I try to choose beverages that you can't find just anywhere. There's so many other small businesses that are trying to create these drinks that just deserve exposure. So that's one of my main filters. Whether the drinks are made by just females, minority owned, LGBTQA owned, like veteran owned. Um, yeah, I just want to expose people to new brands that you know deserve it. And
Shout
so
them
I,
out, Mary. Shout out the companies that you want to give credit to. Go ahead.
oh gosh, there's this great non-alcoholic beer um, called Busty Lush, which
Mhm.
is really fun. They make beer and NA cocktails, and it's a female-owned company, and they're just fantastic. I think they're trying real hard and doing some great things.
Are all these based out of Columbus, Ohio?
Oh no, no,
Okay.
no. And another, speaking based out of Columbus, Ohio, another great LGBTQA brand that is in Columbus called Mockery. They're doing some great things with non-alcoholic cocktails, and I just got some of their beverages. They're so good. They're so good. It's a real treat. Um, and so as far as CBD, the CBD beverages do really well. I think I have about 6 different varieties of those. One new brand I carry, also female owned, is called Good Spirit, and the lavender lemon is just awesome at 35 milligrams CBD.
Wow.
And then I carry right now about 6 different types of THC beverages. I don't carry anything over 5 milligrams. I feel like it starts to get into like sketchy territory there. I don't want to be responsible, you
Yeah.
know. I don't want to be responsible for irresponsible people, you
Fair.
know. I
Yeah.
haven't wrapped my head around that yet.
Are these the Delta 9 products? Is that the THC products you're talking about?
Yeah, right now. And
I
for
had one of those on accident once. And
how'd
it
that
was
go?
and I'm really sensitive to THC in general, but I was like, "Oh, it's a CBD drink." And I'm like chugging it away and I get halfway through and my husband calls and I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying this CBD drink." And he's like, "Oh my God, have you drank any of that?" And I was like, "I'm about halfway through." And he's like, "Stop drinking it immediately." And it was a 25 milligram bottle that I had then had half of. And I was like, yes, I don't know how we're legally allowed to sell this stuff. So I appreciate that you're being responsible that way, because I do think that some of these things can get you really under the influence of
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
couldn't have driven. I couldn't have driven a car.
No, no, no. And I've seen some go up to 50 milligrams. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who is drinking this? I
Yeah,
need to talk to you. What
right.
um but they actually are big sellers. The THC drinks are big sellers. And I get it. If you want to catch a vibe and don't want a hangover, I have always been like pro marijuana. I still have mixed feelings about how well they sell.
Yeah.
But
I think it's, I always say, you never wake up after a night of too much THC and say, what have I done to ruin my life? You know what I mean? So
no.
that's the big difference, I think. And
Yes.
I think why we're all trying to navigate, especially here in Ohio, it's legalized here. It's just people have a lot of mixed feelings, but I always say I've not known a single person who have ruined their life over too strong of a gummy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
I believe in it. I like it personally. But you know, at 44, I'm not drinking one and going out partying. I'm drinking one to help me sleep and
yeah,
relax.
totally.
It's just different. And so I always tell people that haven't tried THC and want to, you know, buy a beverage for me or kava, which I'll talk about in a minute. Drink half, even though low, even like a 3 milligram drink half, wait 40 minutes and see how you feel.
Yeah.
If you feel fine, save the other half for later.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to keep going, just finish it. So that's always my directive. And do you guys know about kava?
No.
I do, but I can't wait to hear about the drinks you have. Yeah.
Okay, so I carry a kava spirit called Kava Haven. Again, another small company.
You can tell people about kava. I don't think very many people know about it.
Okay. The kava spirit I have is really fun. It's a lemon based drink, and it does have a bit of earthiness, which kava has, because it comes from a fermented root, and it's an old Pacific Island tradition, you know, of getting buzzed. And I always tell people, like, I get them to laugh about it. It's like, it has been used for dentistry, and that if you drink too much of it, your mouth will go numb. So I always caution people to tread lightly. And then I sell it's an adaptogenic drink, so it has lots of good vitamins and herbs in it, but it also has kava. And it's a husband and wife team developed this. It's called Benu. And they, again, during the pandemic, did not like drinking around their kids, you know, and they're like, there has to be a better way. And so they developed this great drink. And people seem to really like that. But, and again, I've been reading things lately about how some research has shown that kava is actually worse for your liver than alcohol. So I want to do a little bit digging, because knowing about these products is very important to me. I want to be able to educate the customer, because I think that's another big missing piece. Like the first time I bought a THC beverage from a beer and liquor shop, I remember being like, how is this possible? And this was before Delta 9, and, you know, before any law was really approved. I'm like, how is this possible? And the guy's just like, I don't know. And I'm like, come on, you run a really nice beer and wine shop here. Like, you can't tell me more.
And I bet you know a lot about the wine that you carry and the beer, and we're able to talk and speak to those things. So it's equally as important.
Right. I have some really good non-alcoholic wine by a brand called Shirley. And I love when people walk by and they're like, Shirley, I can't find that anywhere. You know, they may have had it during dry January or when they were pregnant. And so when they see it again, they're like, sweet. Because I do think it's some of the best NA wine out there. It's like 20 calories a can. And it tastes like the real thing, in my opinion.
It's the only wine that I have found that tastes like I like it. But I've only found it one time, and I got a dry January box, like, of like NA spirits and like stuff. Like, it was like a package deal from, I think it was like Low or No, I think was the name of the.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the only time I've ever seen it. So.
Oh, see, that I love that. I love that I have that, because just, you know, it's validating that, like, my tastes are kind of on par. Some other beer that I carry Go Brewing, a couple different flavors of Go Brewing NA beer, which passed the test of my husband. I can't drink beer, period, because of a gluten sensitivity. But I do taste it. I thought it was good. It passed my husband's taste test, so I carry that. Bravas Brewing is America's first NA brewery. So I carry a couple flavors of those seasonal ones right now: pumpkin ale and a peanut butter dark. which is really fun.
Yeah.
I try to tell people, I'm like, if you like root beer floats, give this a shot. Like put ice cream
Yeah.
in this. I swear it'll be good. So some NA beer varieties, which aren't my best sellers, honestly, because I think people have their favorite NA beers. And Athletic Brewing does a really good job. I don't currently carry them because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And honestly, no offense, but it's another male dominant, male owned company that just does well,
Yeah.
And let's see, the adaptogenic beverages are great. Have you guys had any?
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now the trick with adaptogenic beverages is they say the more you drink, the more you feel, the effects of the adaptogens, whether they're from, mushrooms like reishi or, so on, or herbs. I describe it adaptogenic beverages like similar to ginseng in tea. It's like you're getting a benefit from an herb, to help, whether it's to help you focus, relax, digestive benefits, sexual health benefits. It just runs a gamut. So
Right.
they're really
It's
great.
not necessarily going to give you that immediate relaxed kind of buzzy sensation if that's what you're looking for. Yeah.
Right. It's not immediate, but you'll definitely feel like an adult while you're drinking it.
Yes.
And it's a good cocktail alternative. I really think so. Some are flavored like cocktails. Like I have a mojito by Little Saints. Little Saints has a great story. The founder of that, just really persevered, sold her life to keep this company going, and now she's super successful. I love her story. But yeah, I have a mojito of theirs.
We got a sample of Little Saints, and we liked all of them. Yeah.
Did you? I really like the espresso martini myself.
Oh, I haven't had that one.
Yeah, we didn't have that one. Yeah.
I thought it was great. I carry some coffee and tea. I think specialty tea is going to be the next NA wine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Some of these I carry by Rishi Tea, Rishi. You may have seen their bagged varieties out there. Really nice company. They do their research, man. They go out in the middle of nowhere and they find their tea.
Wow.
And you can really taste the quality. I carry their sparkling botanicals, and there's one, a Shishandra berry, which is actually used in wine making, but they made it into a tea, and it is so special. And I never thought a tea could taste like wine, and it does, and it's cool. Just fantastic. And I carry about 5 different flavors of those, and so a really great herbal tea called Herbivore that has a great story. This African-American mother, and she grew up where, her family taught her to pick herbs, and they would brew their own tea. And when she moved to, it was either New Jersey or New York, she did the same thing. She had to start growing her own herbs in a garden, taught her daughters how to do it, and she would brew tea for her daughters, and they would carry it to school in these glass bottles, and be like what they would drink during the day at school. And it just caught on. People were asking about it, and so she started brewing this tea, and it's just a really nice herbal tea. Oh yes, I have kombucha. Oh man,
I love kombucha. I really got into it hardcore after I got sober, so I love it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how often do you drink kombucha? I'm curious.
Like maybe once a week. It's like a specialty thing for me. Like if I'm at the store and I see a bottle of it.
Okay. When I started this, I was new to kombucha, and I have a friend that's a nutritionist who loves kombucha. And I'm like, her name's Laura, and she gives me good tips on drinks all the time. And I'm like, fine, Laura likes kombucha, I should try it. And I was not into it at first. And
yeah.
I like vinegar things, but the couple I tried at first were just not good. And so I found Hans. Hans Kombucha is just so great. Again, another female-owned company. That their flavors are unique and not too vinegary. And they have a great one called Cheers Queers. That's a peach champagne.
Love.
And yeah, it's one of my best sellers for kombucha. But yeah, the other day when I popped up, it's like, I don't know what was in the air, but everybody wanted their pineapple cactus kombucha. It was so strange. They make really good kombucha. I carry that and another one, but it's an apple pie kombucha. That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love that. We asked you what one of your key learnings were in your coming up in your business. And I am obsessed with this that you sent us. You sent us a quote saying, "You can start over at any time, at any age. You have more choice and control in your life than you've been told. Most of our limits exist within our own thoughts. Thoughts are not truths." I love that.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about that and what about that inspires you?
Um, I'll go with the first part, starting over at any age. I've started over a lot. And especially with, my artwork, I didn't get my first solo show until I was 40. And having finished my MFA when I was 24, it seemed like a long time. And so that was a big deal to me at the time. I was like, wow, I'm 40. I can still do stuff. I can, you know, get this going. And then I realized that wasn't working out for me anymore shortly after that. And I came up with this idea. And before when I've been let go from jobs, I've started over again and again and again. And I think I am. There's a TED Talk about multi-potentialite. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I can send it to you.
Yes, please.
And the speaker does such a good job. I'm talking about how there's some people in life that know exactly what they want to do, and they do it, and they
Right.
do it well, and they never second guess it. Then there are other people in life who have a lot of ideas. And I've got a lot of ideas, and I think I was stifling myself on, ironically enough, by thinking I had to be an artist. I
Yeah.
thought it was the only thing I was good at. And I thought, it was what I was supposed to do because I was talented.
Right.
And, but there was a bit of a barrier for me to really be myself with artwork. I thought
Yeah.
I had to impress a certain group. I thought I had to, and that's actually not the job of an artist. An artist is supposed to be their authentic self at all times. And I didn't find that until now.
Wow.
And I do think sobriety honestly helped me come to that conclusion. You know, I drank a lot when I was making artwork.
Yeah.
You can't start, and who knows? I may do this for however long, and maybe chase that dream of starting a pumpkin farm when I retire. I don't know. I think we limit ourselves. I really do. And when really, like, our lives could be so much richer if we tried different things. And I think a fear of failure is one of the reasons why people don't try different things. But you don't learn unless you fail. And God knows I have failed so many times.
We're in
So
the
many.
same boat with you, girls. Same boat. Same boat. Yeah,
and,
same boat here. Lots of
but,
failures.
oh man. And
Yeah,
looking back at those failures, how do you feel now?
my best lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Best
Mm-hmm.
lessons. Yeah, we just interviewed a Dr. Mary Felice, and she's here in Columbus as well. And she was talking to us about how we, we should be failing, and we should be exploring ourselves, and we should be our most authentic selves, and it's our most cherished pursuit, is
Mm-hmm.
getting back in touch with our authentic self and
Mm-hmm.
finding what speaks to us. And that can look a whole lot of different ways, but she talked about being very present in the now, and letting that show you where to go next, right? Is that being present is the only place to be. And I think it's very cool that you got all the green lights from all your previous jobs and experiences to do this and do it well. Um, what you're doing is amazing. The products that you're bringing. I thought you were going to tell me that you had a whole bunch of NA products from Columbus. The fact that you have this amazing array is fantastic. I think what you're doing is incredible. And I think the sky's the limit with what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And there's a last part of that quote that thoughts are not facts. Is that what it says?
Thoughts are not truths.
Thoughts are not truths.
I didn't know that for a long time.
Yeah.
The first time I heard that, I think it was a therapist said that to me, and I looked at her just like cross-eyed. I mean, I was like, what? And once I realized that, it's helped me so much as a person and as a mother. You know, kids are ruled by their feelings. They really are, which can be great, but also a little scary for them. So, gosh, maybe someone else that's listening to this has never thought about that before, but man, that can change a lot. Just knowing that can change a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We always love to ask our guests, let me back up. We love to ask our guests, who are some women in your life that have helped, inspire you, help support you on your path, or even just people that maybe you don't even know personally, but just continue to inspire you by their mission and what they're doing?
I could list off a slew of artists, right, that are inspiring. But what was funny to me when I started this was all of a sudden I sat down and I'm like, holy crap. Almost all of the women I know they have their own business. And I had never thought about that before. My friend Jessie runs her own hair salon. My friend Pam, in conjunction with her husband, runs a greenhouse and a bar. My friend Jen, co-owner of a bar. My friend Sang, acquaintances, does amazing things with hospitality. It just all started to come together. I'm like, oh my God. All these, I have taken them for granted in that, like, oh, they're just awesome. They do their thing. But then when I wanted to do my own thing too, I was like, they can help me. And, and something that, I met I know other small business owners. Oh gosh, Babs that runs Rock Candy. She was all about it. She was like, yes, you can pop up outside my store. My friends at Tiger Tree. Yes. It's like the small business community was more inspiring and more welcoming than the artist community was for me for many, many years. Like it's different. They want to help each other. They want to share their knowledge. They want to grow a community. But man, the small business community as a whole, especially a female small business community, were the most inspiring. I mean, and you ladies, like, you're doing the thing. And I don't want to say that. I was going to say I wasn't raised with female empowerment, but my mom was harder on us girls than the boys for a reason, I think, in a way. My point is that women are pretty unstoppable. And I mean, I think we're seeing that this year, especially. But man, yeah, the small business community, the women that I know that run small businesses, just so helpful. I mean, I could ask them anything. I never felt stupid. Even when my friend Pam was trying to help me through QuickBooks recently, I'm just like, I mean, I went to art school to avoid math, and right. Here I am, and and she was so patient and kind with me, and I know that I can ask anybody anything, and that they'll help me.
Yeah, totally.
And I've never had that before.
Yeah,
I really haven't.
So I work for a all-female ran real group. Mm-hmm. And then of course we own our business together, and it's just so wonderful. Like QuickBooks, no thank you. Anything financial, no thank you. And poor Cristi's out here suffering the brunt of learning these things, so I'm just like, I can't. And whereas Cristi here is not, technology and Cristi aren't just like,
we don't like one another usually.
We all have our thing, yeah.
Exactly. But that's where I can step in and we can balance each other out in those things and really help one another. And that's what's great about, small businesses, female owned businesses, like just wanting to help build and grow that community. Like, it's so funny. I used to go to all the markets around town, like the art markets or whatever. Obviously, I went to Gallery Hop, but I had gone to a ton of fleas, and that's how I met the owner of Rock Candy, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I bought a bunch of crystals from her, and then I went to see her actual store because I didn't know she had an actual store, and it was just like, it just always blows my mind that women are out here doing it and taking these chances and building these beautiful businesses and then supporting one another all along. Just fills me with such hope and joy. So
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
awesome. Well, was there anything that we didn't touch on today that you would like to share? Any last parting words for anyone listening?
Oh gosh, I always want to encourage people to be open to new experiences, open to reinventing themselves, and you know, taking that first step is all you need to do.
Totally.
Yeah. My husband read me a quote, from Martin Luther King the other night. It's like, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You really don't. And I think a lot of people think they do. They can think themselves out of growing.
Agreed.
So true.
I mean, that's a mic dropper right there, Mary. We look forward to collaborating with you. We would love to do an event with you sometime. That would be amazing.
Oh, that'd be terrific.
Yeah, I would love to introduce you to some folks in our network as well. We do own restaurants and breweries, so I think that what you're doing is great, and we can't wait to do something with you in the future.
I so appreciate this.
Of course, we'll make sure we tag your Instagram, which is Better Bev Shop, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then your Alignable account as well. We'll make sure to link that as well. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. It was wonderful talking with you.
Oh, wonderful talking to you, and thank you so much. Keep doing the good work, man. It's great.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, you too.
Thank you.